Hey guys, welcome back. Another quick episode here, Banish the Doubt. I just want to kind of real quick go over what I spoke about in the last video and tie it into what I want to speak about tonight. You see, when I'm learning this stuff, and as you're continuing to learn it, um, not sure about you, but to me, this drives me because it's very passionate for me to get this message out to as many people as possible because I feel, well, I know, not that I feel, I know that the more people hear these types of um, videos and teachings, the more aware people will become, and the more aware people become, the healthier we are going to become as a people, a nation, and as a planet. So, between stimulus and response, there is a space. You may remember this if you're subscribed to my channel. The other day, I made this video. Okay, now between what somebody or something happens or somebody says to us and our response or our reaction to it, there's a space. In that space is our power. Okay, why would I say that? Because in that space, we have the opportunity to choose our response. And in that response lies our growth and our freedom. Now, a stimulus could be, and what I'm talking about here tonight, the stimulus is when we say something or we react to something. In that spot, that stimulus, we have the opportunity to catch ourselves in that space and say, wait a minute, is that the old me? That's the old programmed me responding or reacting, not responding, but reacting. I'm responding now in this moment to my reaction. In that space, that's our power. Don't underestimate that. That is powerful because 99 point, keep on going to nines, people in this on this planet don't understand that and don't do that. Okay? That's what we're talking about in that moment. Okay, our freedom from the old self and our growth, the new self. Now, what is the best way to control and subjugate a population? You remember this? You may remember this. It's to brainwash them, okay, into a learned state of powerlessness, a victimization, a victimhood, and make them believe that they are at the mercy of outside circumstances. Well, if he would only change, if she would only change, I would feel better. Let me, they have to, oh, they're going to destroy. You heard me say this in the last video. Okay. So just real quick, I just want to kind of go over that because I want to tie that into tonight's message. All right. So I want to start off with this. We have two minds, our conscious mind and our subconscious mind. The subconscious mind never alters the accepted beliefs of people. It outpictures them to the last detail whether or not they are beneficial. Okay, so it's not objective. It doesn't muchly care what you're thinking or what it's putting out. Okay, remember, your world, your reality is nothing more than a reflection of these subconscious innermost thoughts and beliefs. Mastery then of self-control of our thoughts and feelings, go back to what I just mentioned, right? In that space is our highest achievement. Okay, now I want to talk about a couple of quotes that I heard. This was Carlos Castaneda said this. In the universe, there is an unmeasurable, indescribable force that those who live of the source call intention. And that absolutely everything that exists in the entire cosmos is attached to intent by a connecting link. Sorcerers are not only concerned with understanding and explaining that connecting link, but they are especially concerned with cleansing it of the numbing effects brought about by all of the concerns at living at ordinary levels of consciousness. So, outer circumstances, ordinary levels of consciousness, what's going on outside of me, if only they would change. I don't understand why this keeps happening to me. Sorcerers or people who understand that there is we are connected to this God force, to this universal force, this source energy, this universal energy. You and I have a spark, have a part. That's who we are on our inside. And I'm going to get to that here in a minute. But understand that we are all connected. We are all part of this source that Carlos Castaneda spoke about. And whenever we're feeling good, whenever we're in love or in a relationship, we are connected. That's when we are at our highest. We are living consciously. We're not living based on our subconscious thoughts. So I'm going to work with that here in a second, but understand that we are all part of this. This source energy is within each of us. Now, this next quote, comes from Max Planck. Now, you may be wondering, well, who's Max Planck? Max Planck was a scientist back in early teens, 19 teens. And he, along with Einstein at the time, were considered the greatest scientific minds on our planet. He was given the Nobel Prize for his study of the atom. And this is what he said when he was accepting the award. As a man who has devoted his whole entire life to the study of matter, I can tell you, as my result of my research about atoms, this much. There is no matter as such. All matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force which brings the particle of an atom to vibration and holds this most minute solar system of an atom together. And now listen to this next part, okay? This is at the time, along with Einstein, the greatest scientific mind on our planet. We must assume that behind this force, the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind. This mind is the matrix of all matter. So that's some pretty heavy stuff, okay? But that is, at the time, one of the greatest scientists on the planet saying that. You and I, we are made up of 500 trillion cells, and within these cells are atoms. And what we were led to believe hundreds of the years before us, and our ancestors and great grandparents and grandparents and what on up to us, we were living by this Newtonian idea of an atom. This is my diagram of that, the way atoms were. But quantum physics said this is an atom. This is what an atom looks like. It's nothing. You and I, we are made up of energy. We are not made up of anything that's matter. Atoms are 99.9999999% energy and 0.000001% matter. And inside of atoms, they found, I think it was 1874, scientists finally started to understand. They were able to cut inside of an atom and find molecules and protons and all that scientific stuff. Basically meant that it was nothing but energy. So you and I, this is why we can walk into a room and you don't have to hear anything or conversation. You can just feel the energy. You're like, hey, something's going on. Something's wrong here. Or the opposite. Oh, I could feel the energy coming from that room. This is why, because we are made up of energy. And it comes from our thoughts. What do we put in our mind? What we put in our mind, okay, comes out of our mouth. What you and I say is nothing more than just these generated thoughts in our mind. And I'm going to explain here in a second how the majority of those thoughts that we have that come out audibly, come out of our mouth, are nothing more than memorized sets of thoughts, energy that is generated inside of us. Now, you may have heard me say this in previous videos, but it's worth repeating and just repeating and repeating and repeating, because this is so incredibly instructive and really to understand this. We are at our birth at 0, okay? And even before then, third trimester is when our brain turns on. And we're a fetus, our brain turns on third trimester. And however mom and dad are going through life at that point, that energy is transferred to us through mom's umbilical cord. And that energy is pushed down into the fetus. But when we're born at 0, okay, we are in delta brainwaves, which are the lowest brainwaves. We're sleeping. This is why an infant sleeps all the time. Okay, but from age 2, so from 0 to 2, we're in delta. From 2 to 7, we're in theta brainwaves. We are in hypnosis. It's why we are just observing mom and dad and everything around us, the rules of the family, right? What are the rules of the family? If you have brothers or sisters, how are they acting? What's mom and dad's what's their interaction between each other? How are they acting about themselves? See, we're recording everything at this time. This is also the time when we are in an imaginative state, right? So young girls could have a tea party with no tea, but they are seeing in their imagination the tea. Young boys can take a broomstick. Mom says, give me the broomstick. And, well, no, it's not a broomstick. It's a horse, right? They're riding the broomstick. This is that imaginative state. This is in theta. This is what 95% of our life is based off of. It's the foundation that is built. It is like this computer. It is the operating system that is downloaded into this computer of our mind. And everything works off of that. Then we go into, between 7 and 12 years of age, we go into alpha brain state, brain waves. That's like the calm consciousness. This is when at age 7, so there's no conscious brain at this point. Consciousness starts at age 7. But from 2 to 7, or 2 through 7 and 8, 9, 10, up to age 12, this is when we hear things such as, big boys don't cry. I'll give you something to cry about. Money's not made on trees. What do you think? What do you think? I'm made of money, right? Is this hitting any, am I touching any nerves here with this? Come on, what's wrong with you? Let's go, grow up. You're getting older now. You're not a little baby anymore, right? This is where parents are almost like coaches, right? What does a coach do? Come on, you got to get better than that, right? Tweak. You got to prod and tweak. Well, if an older child hears that, they understand, they're conscious. They understand, like, well, I got to do a little bit better. I got to kind of hustle here. But for a child whose consciousness is just developing, or even younger than that, between 2 and 7, there's no conscious. They're just recording that. And what is it recording? What program is being downloaded? I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy enough. I don't deserve. We witness maybe mom and dad having arguments over money, whatever it may be. We watch dad's drinking or mom's drinking and they're taking drugs. All these things are going on. Think about how many of you watching this were you raised where mom or dad said to you, you're a beautiful child. You are just a wonderful, you're perfect. Everything about you is perfect. And I just love you. And you're going to have such a beautiful, wonderful life. And your life is just perfect. Everything about you, you radiate love and you can do anything you want. Maybe 1, maybe 2 of you are thinking like, yeah, that's how I was raised. I heard that all the time. The majority of us heard the opposite. You heard a little bit about that, but the majority of it was the other way I'm talking about, right? What do you think? I'm made of money? Money doesn't grow on trees, and you got to hustle. You got to get out there and grind. You got to, come on, you got to hustle here. This is how you make money. This is how a real man acts, or what have you. This is also the time when we become a bigot and we don't even realize it, right? I can remember growing up at that age hearing, "You dumb Polak." And I was raised to think that if you're Polish, you're just dumb. Why? Well, because that's what was programmed to me on TV. That's why they call that's why they call it TV programming, right? So we go through alpha and then we get into beta. Beta is where we're at now. Beta is like kind of freak out state. We're hustling. We got to grind. We got to hustle. We got to be compete. We got to be better than the other people. We got to, we got to make money. The company's got to do better. But let me ask you a question. How many of you watching this have a job? A job, the acronym stands for just over broke. How many of you have a job, okay, that is just a job and you have it because without it, you couldn't make the mortgage or the rent payment or the car payment? You're operating from a fear based. Well, I better just take this job because there's nothing else out there. See what I'm talking about? And a lot of that comes back to the programming, how we were programmed, how we were raised. That's just one example. And or you now you're in a relationship or in a job or some kind of a career that you feel like you're trapped. Right? Think about this, how we go through our life, right? We get to 12 and beyond. And how many of us, well, you're getting older now, you better get married. And well, you're married, you gotta buy that house. And we just sort of follow along with what we were told, how the programming is, what our family is like. Our family, whatever maybe, you're the first one in our family ever to own a house. You're the first one in our family ever to go to college. This is what I'm talking about, the type of programming. So now I put here 95% because 5% of our brain is here. It is the frontal lobe. Okay, it's where our conscious brain is. The remaining 95% of our brain is subconscious. This is how we live from this premise. So when you're driving your car and a song comes on the radio, or you're having a conversation in your mind back at your work, your coworker, your boss, whatever it may be, and you're talking to that person, the subconscious mind is operating the car. If you're watching me right now and your mind is drifting off somewhere, the subconscious mind is bringing you there. 95, your wishes and desires are here. Okay? This is the 95% that you're right now. If you're thinking of something else, did I send that email? Did I make that payment yet? Because we've been trained that way. We've been programmed. Okay? So now the function of the mind, okay, this 95% or the 5% is to create coherence between what we believe, okay, and what we believe and our experience, our reality, what we experience. The the function of this mind is to say, okay, this is what you believe, and I'm going to bring it to this reality. So if we believe we're in a dead end job, if we believe that if we leave this job, we're not going to be able to make the mortgage payment or the rent payment or the car payment, then our mind is going to create that reality. It's going to bring that reality to us. What we see in our world, in our reality, is a reflection of those thoughts. Okay, but those thoughts, the majority of them come from the programming. Now, I watched Dr. Bruce Lipton talk about this, and he got this from Dr. David Hawkins from his book Power vs. Force. And he said there was a test done, and to hold your arm up. And the question was, I love myself. And 80% of the people, when they pushed their arm and they said that, the arm went down. Because 80% of the people who were tested did not test positive for I love myself. It's because of these beliefs, these perceptions that we have. It's who we are on the inside. that covers up who we truly are. It's who we are on the inside, but that's covering up that spark that I talked about a few minutes ago, that connection to source energy. It's why that we always talk about other people. It's easy to talk about somebody else and to elevate ourselves by putting somebody else down. That's the complete opposite of how we're supposed to live in this world. You heard me say it in the beginning of this video. This is how we've been brainwashed to concern ourselves without anything external to us. But this video and other videos, my channel and others, Dr. Bruce Lipton and others, were devoted to understanding that and teaching about not to look at the outside world for anything other than a validation of how I'm thinking in the moment. Anybody else out there, anybody doing or saying anything to you that upsets you, remember, in that space between stimulus and response, this space in here lies our power. It's to be able to understand, okay, wait a minute, that's the old programming. How do I change that? The way we change it, okay, is by, well, I'll take us back. Now I took us this way. I want to take us back to Delta. So we're in Beta. We come home from work. Okay, we're kind of jazzed up from work. We're going into Alpha. We're sitting around. We're feeling kind of tired from the day because a lot of energy was expended. Stress takes a lot of energy out of us. Okay, so now we're in Alpha. We're sitting kind of on the couch. We're sort of a couch potato. It's why they say couch potato, because we're in such Beta. Okay, we're so stressed out. And by the way, there's no stress, but we're so stressed out, we're now going to Alpha. When we're going to bed, this is what we want to do. When we get into Theta, okay, we go back. We want to record. So we recorded, right? Our mom and dad and others in our family and school and what have you. We recorded all that. Now we want to record the opposite. We want to put the earphones in. We want to record. We want to maybe write down on a pad, what would your perfect life be like? If tomorrow you woke up, money was not an issue. Just think of what your perfect self would be like. Okay, this person. If 95% of your thinking was positive of who you dream to be, if your wishes and desires are 5%, we're going to flip this. Okay. We're going to take this and we're going to make this 95% of this, of our wishes and desires. Because remember, subconscious mind doesn't know. If you were to ask your subconscious mind right now, hey, and it could answer you, when did I learn how to walk? It would answer you, today, because it doesn't understand 20, 30, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. It only understands right now. You're walking, so you must have learned how to do it right now. Okay? So we want to switch that around. We want to change this to the 95% of our aspirations, our beliefs. We want to change these beliefs around. This is how we do it. Okay? We're learning how to tie our shoelaces all over again. So we want to record ourselves saying these things. Literally, you want to record yourself, whatever type of life, your perfect life, this image, this visual you have of yourself. Write it down, because in writing helps a lot, and then record yourself. And listen to the recording or any other affirmations. Louise Hay is a great person to listen to as far as affirmations. But we want to start to flood the mind of these thoughts of who we want to be. But we want to talk about it and Louise Hay talks about it in the first person, as in I am. Okay? Books, I just got this book today called The Impersonal Life. We want to read books like this. We want to get around, because books like this and books like here, Power of Awareness or Faith is Your Fortune, are great for the conscious mind. But we want to flood our conscious mind and then have it flood the 95% of all of this. Remember, In between a stimulus and a response lies our power and our freedom. This, though, doing the recording, doing this all over again, going back, is the way we get to that point where we embody, we are living right now. I am a millionaire. I am perfect health. I am in the perfect, most harmonious relationship. I am living heaven here on earth. Because, like Dr. Bruce Lipton says, this is heaven on earth. It is paradoxical. It goes absolutely against what we've been taught, but it truly, truly is. You and I came here to this world, to this planet, as perfect specimens. It's just the unfortunate layering and the programming of those before us who didn't know any different. So, in closing, I would like for you to look at every person in your life from this point forward and look at them as people who don't understand this. Like I said, that 99.99999% of population doesn't understand this. So we want to view them as, thank you. You're teaching me about myself because I was that person. I am now this person, this 95% who we are changing this around to. I am now that person. This is how we do it. If you guys would like any work with this, kind of one-on-one coaching, feel free to click on my link at my channel, and I'd be honored to work with you. Please feel the need. If you want to go ahead and leave me a comment and let me know how this video has helped you, or other areas maybe that you feel like you've changed by watching my videos or others videos like mine, leave me a comment down below. And I will see you guys again on the next video. Thanks very much.